Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Let's rock and roll that rabbit hole.
What if I told you the most powerful people in the world wear red shoes, and it's not about fashion? Leather shoes are made from skin, that's common knowledge, but red leather, that's something else entirely. It's rumored to be the softest, most exclusive material in existence. And the price? Let's just say it's not measured in dollars. You've seen them. Bright, bold, impossible to miss. Worn by billionaires, politicians, Hollywood elites. You think it's just a trend? No, it's a symbol, a mark, something only the initiated understand. And the red carpet? The biggest names, the most powerful figures, all walking down a path of deep crimson. And what's the question they always ask? Who are you wearing? That's not just small talk, that's ritual. There are paintings, tapestries, historical depictions of people in red shoes, often against their will. Coincidence? Or a message hiding in plain sight? Certain luxury brands create pieces infused with, let's just say, organic materials, and they flaunt it right in front of us. Next time you see a billionaire in red leather loafers, ask yourself, just a fashion statement, or are they telling you exactly who they are? But hey, this is just a story, right? For entertainment purposes only.
Well, Ariana Grande really showed that she's on the dark side of things, y'all. Not just because she's showing us her backside and that she got all red on. It's always the red, y'all. They love showing red. So y'all remember during the Oscars, she had two dresses on. One of them was this. I didn't notice before, but I noticed now. Look what's on her back, y'all. Do y'all see that shit? It's a red heel. So a lot of people looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Hold up. They say the devil's in the details, but the truth is hidden in plain sight, which is that shoe. If y'all haven't heard about the Red Shoe Club, go look it up. You will be amazed. So we all know that the red symbolizes what we bleed. The shoe wasn't worn by accident. And the fact that it's red too, that's just showing the ritual mark. So I need y'all thoughts down below. Did y'all catch this at the Oscars? And do y'all think I'm explaining it right? Or is it just fashion?
Those are killer stones, by the way.
Those are killer stones, by the way.
Anyway, sorry, go on. I might kiss that shoe before the end of the night. It's there.
I might kiss that shoe before the end of the night. It's there.
Donald in Red Shoe Review. Good time. Great taste. That's why this is our place. After you. The good time, great taste of McDonald's.
Good time! The Red Shoe Club. Nothing more than a fashion statement of the elite? Or does it allude to something more nefarious? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
We switched timelines, and that's why all the Mandela effects are happening. Watch this.
String, he says there's a snake in my boot, right? Well, now it's strangely there's a snake in my boots.
All I can do is...
That doesn't even make sense. Now here's a crazy one. When you think of Abraham Lincoln, you think of a guy with a tall hat, right? Where are all the images of him with hats? He has no hats in none of his pictures. Where did it go? I thought I was crazy, but weird things are happening right before our eyes. Have you ever watched the SpongeBob movie? You know the Goofy Goober song? I distinctly remember SpongeBob having a white guitar. Now all of a sudden it's a peanut? I can't be the only one tripping about this. Also, does anybody remember popsicles? You know how they used to have all of our favorite cartoon characters? Well, I distinctly remember there being a Boots popsicle with the messed up bubblegum eyes and all. But guess what? Apparently it never existed. I remember eating it. Like this video if I should do a part 3.
The Mandela effect is a fascinating phenomenon. Whether you think it's just people misremembering, or maybe you think it's proof that we live in a simulation. Regardless of the root cause, the fact that millions of people have the same false memory, if that's the case, is quite incredible. It defies meaning. But of course, there are people on the internet that are taking this in the wrong direction, faking evidence. Here's an example.
Then I planned on going out there to see them, and I dug it out, and I noticed that the Berenstain had said Berenstein in that room, but I come out here into just the normal other part of the house and it says this. So just so you know I'm not crazy, I'm going to show you as I pass through this doorway. what happens, and it's fucking weird. All right, it happens when it gets in the room. See it? And then back out here, normal. Yeah, what the fuck? Uh-huh, yeah. And then normal. This just creeps me out, man. I don't even like to be in this room anymore, but I sleep in here. I mean, look at that. That shit is changing right there. Anyway.
So sure, there's misleading videos out there, but does that mean that the whole concept is flawed? Perhaps it alludes to the multiverse theory.
Never thought I'd see it in the wild. It's incredible. How is it still alive?
Now those are odd videos. Is this place some kind of matrix? Some claim that examples like those lead one to believe that this place could be a simulation or a collapsed multiverse.
The world ended in 2012. Remember in the year 2020, when people believed that we were actually in the year 2012 because of the switch from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar in 1752, and that the belief that the world was going to end in 2012 or 2020 could actually be true. What if they were right? I don't know about you, but time has been passing by faster than ever, and everyone has been so negative. And let's not forget the biggest event of 2020. You know, the global pandemic that led to the death of millions, the close down of businesses, economic crisis, and the stay-at-home orders. What if the world as we know it did end? We just didn't notice. Theories suggest that we are currently living in a different reality, and while some believe that the world actually ended in our perceived 2012, and others believe it ended in the Julian calendar 2012, both agree that there has been some sort of paradigm shift that has altered reality as we know it. And we all should know by now that there are hidden messages in our films and TV shows. So what if the film 2012 was trying to tell us something? But what do you think? Have you noticed anything strange lately?
The concept or idea that our reality collapsed and we have fallen into another reality very similar is what many people in the multiverse arena tend to think. Multiple realities all simultaneously existing on top of each other. When one collapses, it moves down to the next.
Google may have just proved the multiverse is real. Google just unveiled Willow, which may be the biggest leap forward in quantum computing. It's so powerful that it was able to complete a benchmark problem or compute test in 5 minutes that would have taken the most powerful supercomputer 10 septillion years to complete. That's 10 followed by 24 zeros and is more than the age of the universe. The lead of Google's quantum compute team, Harmit Nevin, who definitely looks like he's from the future, said that the insane computing ability of Willow suggests that calculations were done simultaneously across parallel universes, with each universe handling a piece of the problem. Well, okay, I'll take their word for it, but why is this good? Quantum computing has massive potential uses, but there are serious risks, particularly regarding security. Secure electronic information right now is encrypted, but could easily be decrypted with quantum computing. So it's a threat to all traditional cybersecurity methods. So are we screwed? Not for a few years at least. Quantum computers would need to be about 1,000 times more powerful than Google's Willow to break traditional encryption methods. It sounds like this capability is a few years away, even on the most aggressive timelines. Plus, scientists are already deep in development on quantum-proof security measures. Here's a very helpful and completely logical diagram as evidence. Plus, this technology is massively expensive and complicated to build. So, at least for now, your Finsta is safe.
Are quantum computers reaching into other multiverses and extracting collecting information? Sounds a little far-fetched. Once again, what happens when AI gets a hold of a supercomputer?
These mysterious blue shards reported in a leak from Antarctic research labs are a little more revealing. They were leaked by this helicopter engineer who was contracted to work at McMurdo Station in Antarctica from 1997 to the year 2000. So this engineer, let's call him Jimmy Boy, claimed that he befriended a few of the scientists doing research there in 1998. The scientists told him that they had two types of ice they worked with down there. There was this ice that they drilled cores out of boreholes in the ground that was cold to the touch, usually clear or some shade of white, and melted into water. Almost all of Antarctica is covered with this type of ice, which is just normal ice. Clearly, this wasn't their main focus of research. The only times they ever actively study this ice is when film crews from like National Geographic came down to film a documentary. The other 95% of the time, they studied the forbidden sky ice, totally different than the ice that we're used to. Jimmy wasn't allowed in the labs where they studied sky ice because it was, you know, super duper top secret. But one time, one of the scientists he got close with showed him a piece of the ice, and it was unlike any other matter he's ever seen on Earth. First of all, you couldn't touch it with your bare hands and had to wear your heavy-duty South Pole exploration gloves when holding it because of how cold it was. Secondly, as you can tell, it was this solid deep blue color, allegedly composed mainly of oxygen, and is why they called it sky ice. Oxygen has a freezing point of about negative 218 degrees Celsius, which is when it turns into a solid, so you'd practically get frostbite just by looking at it. Jimmy held it for a bit with his gloves, of course, noting that it was lighter than regular ice, almost like he could have thrown it up in the air and it would have floated back down. It was also slightly flexible and completely opaque, so you couldn't see through it at all. And it didn't even melt into water when it got warm, but just continually shrank until it ceased to exist, likely turning directly into oxygen gas, which is why they had to study it in Antarctica. They couldn't even transport it to anywhere in the world before it disappeared. The Russians knew about this too, and it's part of the reason they all have research stations down there. After 15 minutes or so, the sky ice was almost completely gone, and Jimmy asks his research friend where they even get this ice from. And this is where it gets interesting, because to that, the scientist replied, they get it from the wall. According to him, if you go deep enough, hundreds of kilometers inland from the coast, you'll run into a huge wall in Antarctica that contains this sky ice, the biggest natural structure in the world. Interesting to see the ice wall mentioned in a scientific setting here. Now, buckle in, because this is where it actually gets insane, in case you felt like it wasn't already. The US has known about this sky ice for decades, and back in the 60s, they actually tried boring a tunnel through the ice wall. They built a special boring machine made for the super cold temperatures of the sky ice wall and started digging. For the first 2 miles or so, the floor was solid rock, but after that, even the ground under them became the bright blue sky ice, until they got about 5 to 10 miles deep after an entire year of boring, which is pretty damn far and still no sight of the other side. When they realized the tunnel was shrinking and eventually got so small that they could barely even move their machine anymore. Turns out sky ice, when exposed to warmer temperatures, just dissipates into thin air, but in colder temperatures, like inside the tunnel, it regenerates itself. Eventually, the tunnel got so tight, it became too difficult to continue boring, so they scrapped the project, ditched the machine, and after many decades, the hole they dug into the wall has now been completely sealed. Fragments of it, and even the most popular book in the world had something to say about it. Ezekiel 126 reads, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. Now, whether you believe in the Bible or not, we can all agree it is by definition a historic text. Text that was written sometime in history. Firmament over their heads, appearance of a sapphire stone. Maybe this entire sky ice Antarctica story is just completely made up, but as always, what if?
Wow, blue ice looks fascinating. I find it very curious that they can't take it from Antarctica. I guess if we want to see it, we're gonna have to take a trip down there.
Are you? No, this is not the wall. Bro, not the wall. It's there. Look at that. The wall, right? It's there. Woohoo! That's the wall right there. Finally, we're here. Wow. Qué loca esta.
But it's quite high, yeah?
Yeah, it's way bigger than I thought. It's quite high.
Quite high. So, like today, we just moved and try and find the waterfall. So we try and find a way to access ice safely.
Imagine this happens when we're there. We just saw a big piece of ice fall down and it created this huge wave. And you start thinking, what if it's us down there? When we go out, we'll be sometime down there, so it's scary. That was a big piece. We really need to take a look from close with the small boats. I'm sure we'll find nice waterfalls. Wow. Man, see how the water has made its way. Fall any time, huh?
I hope it will come down eventually. It's
pretty, but it's scary. Yeah, that's good. We are looking for lots of water. High rated at the bottom, and that provides us soft landings. There's lots of waterfalls. It's just hard to find them with enough water.
Hay más chorritos, ¿no? Es muy poquito. Sí.
Yeah, small and sketchy. There's about 160 pace of cliff, so we'll keep looking. I'm sure we'll find something good. Oh my god! Woo-hoo-hoo. This is epic. Wow, that's amazing. So I really think we might just have found the most beautiful waterfall I've ever seen. And now the main thing is just getting up there. We found this other place where the ice wall is way lower. It's a good access point, way easier than up there where the waterfalls are. The ice wall is much larger here, probably about 20 meters, so we can't get any closer. And we are going to have to walk almost 10 k's across the ice. Our guides have come up with a pretty smart plan to get up to the ice, but now we need to check with Captain Benny and see if he's okay with that. Fingers crossed.
Was it this one? What you thinking about?
Oh, the one on the balcony. It was.
Yeah, we will make it somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you happy to go, Benny?
Yeah. Snow road is without sticks.
Alright, so now the plan is to get a ladder up to the ice. Philip will get up the ladder, set up a rope, and from there he'll be able to pull us up. So it's dangerous to be under the ice, so we gotta do it quick and get out of there as fast as possible. From what we have scouted on the drones, it doesn't look like it will be easy. So we will need to be prepared for river crossings, crevasses, and much more. On top of our usual packing gear, we'll have a lot of specialist equipment for this task. Ice climbing equipment, supplies, GPS radios, polar bear protection, and a ladder.
Go like this, it happened.
What is the distance now over to the ice?
10 meters closing. No distance, 5 meters closing. Distance, 3 meters closing. Captain, hit the rubber and touching it forward. Benny, you happy if we go now?
Then if you are happy with that, we can try.
Yeah, looks good, Benny. Now it's good now. They will play now.
And then when it's up, we take the ladder away. Okay. We back out.
So that was Red Bull, proving that the ice wall doesn't exist. Looked like a pretty icy wall to me. I guess the question is, are we surrounded by an ice wall? Or is Antarctica just a piece of land the size of Australia on the bottom of our ball?
There are sometimes entire years you can go without seeing a tornado this violent. But this week alone, we could see tornadoes like this every single day. Everywhere you look is just destruction here in this neighborhood of Selmer, Tennessee, after a nocturnal nightmare of a tornado blew through in the early morning hours. And then when you sit and you just take a look at one section of the debris, you see one thing after another. It's just shocking and confusing and dumbfounding. Like this motorcycle that's sitting here in this couple's home in the living room. It flew from a neighbor's house across the street. You might be able to see where the ambulance is. That's where this motorcycle flew from as this ferocious tornado tore through here. As you can see, this house is basically nothing is left standing except for one tiny spot in the middle. The couple had just mere seconds, just enough time to go to their safe spot.
So that was supposedly all footage from the Arkansas area. The southern states is going through quite a storm. The sheer power and devastation that it causes, hard to come back from. I hope they can get back on their feet quickly. I know the government is not providing very much help, offering $700, $800 checks to people. How do you replace your home or anything with $700? Vlad's castle is pretty impressive. Creepy too. Would you want to go visit the castle of Dracula himself? Would you stay overnight?
Here is an extremely clear Bigfoot capture. The video doesn't come with much context, but it's so clear that it makes it really believable. What we know is a video-taking trail camera was set up somewhere in the forest. It began filming as this Bigfoot-like creature came and sat down right in front of the camera. The creature looks rather real. From its long, straggly hair to its Neanderthal-like facial features. Its face looks human-like, but too primate-like to be a human. It does move around pretty human-like, though. The main debate is whether this is the real deal or a human in a costume. And because, as I said earlier, we don't have too much background information, we can't confirm nor deny either theory. But all I know is this is some of the clearest potential Bigfoot footage you'll ever see.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical of this footage. Its movements are just so human-like. That could have been me after a rough night. What I find curious is that there's Bigfoot stories on every continent. They're all slightly different, but carry a lot of the same traits.
My friend... Ah! Oh my god, my friend sent me this video! Why would he do... Bruh! Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way that this is... Oh, it's a shirt. What?
I love a good prank. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for coming. See you next time.